Hi guys, welcome to the a new video. In this video, we're gonna discuss multiple things with respect to the Linux command line. So let me share you the agenda of this video. So we're gonna discuss the BWD command in Linux. Another thing we're gonna discuss is like what is shell, types of shell. Third thing we're gonna discuss is about the echo command, and we're gonna discuss what is the absolute and relative path. So this is a main overview of this session. In between, we can discuss multiple things like ls command also. Yeah, so let's start this. The things first things. Let me tell you what is the shell. So shell you can think is like a program. Now, what is a program you can think of is like program is a set of steps that is doing something for us. That is doing something for us. Program may be like adding two number also. There is also a program. Multiplying two number. Similarly, shell is a program. Now, here the program motto is clear, like adding two number. That is a motto of here. Now, what is the motto of this program? So, motto of this program is to take commands from user and give the output back to the user. Now, how it will work is like you as a user giving some command, maybe that command is like mkdir, that is also command, giving this command to the shell will execute it. Now with this we got the output will again go back to the shell and shell will show that output to the user. Now there is one terminal. What terminal is? Terminal you can think of like tool or again like an application that you use, that we are using here to pass the shell commands. Now we like the scenario is like user is passing the shell command using what? Using terminal. Now that command is going to the shell as an input. Now shell will execute that command, and after executing we got the output will again shows to the user. Now where user will see that output on the terminal. Now let me show you these things in the practical. So whatever you are seeing here is a terminal. This whole white screen, whatever you are seeing, is the terminal. Now what terminal is? Terminal is a tool that you pass to shell. Pass a shell command. Now if I type this command, and let's say what I told you about memk directory is we need to give some directory name. So this command we are giving, this is a shell command, or this is a command we are passing using the terminal, and that command will go to the shell in the background, and then shell will execute that particular thing and it will show the output. And now it's not necessary that it will show output on the screen. It will show, it will done the things that what you want. So what we want from this command is we want to create some directory. So if I before that, if I show you this command, so ls let me explain a bit about this ls thing. So ls is another command, or before let me show you this thing. So we are pwd. Now what pwd will show to us is, just forget about ls for some time. I will explain you. Pwd means present working directory. So how the flow will go is, user is passing the command, that is pwd, now passing using the terminal, and that command is going to the shell in the background. Shell is executing this command, or I will say the process, because command is like a process only. So shell is executing this process, that is pwd. As soon as this process is done, or this thing is done, it will get the output to us, and then that output will be back to the shell. Shell will show that output on the terminal. Now here in the case is, we show that pwd is a command we taken, or we given to the shell. Shell taken this command and executed, and as soon as the output come, shell displayed on the screen, that is the slash root. That means slash root is the current working directory for this user. Now what is the meaning of that current working directory? Means whatever will you do, like you will create folder or you will create some file, anything whatever you do, that will be created in this slash root, because this is your current working directory. Now this thing is like clear already. I told you two things: what is the shell, what is the terminal. I already given you shell, terminal, and what is the pwd command. Now there are like shell there are like different type of shells, and how you can check the name of shell is, if you type some wrong command, that is not exactly the command. So let's say this is not the command in Linux. If I enter this, so in the first it show you the shell name, that is a bash. And now there are many shells available in the market, maybe that a no login shell, sh shell, bash shell, many shells are there. So the representation of those shells are like different. For bash shell, what it's showing is, let me show you on the paint itself. So what it's showing is, it's showing root at the rate, if you see local host, then there is some this sign of tilde, and if you go there and you check, there is a this box and then hash, and some cursor is blinking here. Now what is the meaning of this whole thing is, first thing will tell you the username, from which user you are logged in. Second thing is localhost, on which system you are logged in. Third thing will show you the current working directory, that is pwd, and this cursor blinking here is prompting to us that please give me some command. I gonna execute that command and will show you the output. So this is the meaning of this whole line, that is from here. Let me this whole thing. Now that is the meaning of that is the use of pwd command, that it will show you the current working directory. Now there is another command called ls. So ls will list, what it will list, it will list all the folders or all the files in the current working directory, or in the, I will say, instead of current, in the present directory. Now how we can check is, if you remember a lecture ago, we created one folder with name called Linux and Linux 2. So if I do ls, so if you able to see, there is a Linux and there is a Linux 2. Now there is no folder with the name called Shri. So I am typing this command that will create this folder here. Now how we can verify without going to the GUI? There is a command for that, like how to list all the files in the present directory. So that is ls. If now see, Shri will present here. See, now why it's showing only the files in the slash root? Why it will not showing the files in bin or like etc? I show you in etc there is file called passwd that's contain the user information. Why those files are not there, or why those directories are not there? So before that you need to understand the concept of path. So path, there are two types of path basically. One is absolute path, another is relative path. In a very simple word, I gonna explain you these two paths. So absolute path means the path to access some file or folder in operating system from anywhere. Now what is the meaning of anywhere? I will explain you in just a minute. Now what is the relative path? It's a path with respect to current directory. Now why we need that path? Let's say the pwd is given the present working directory, that is slash root. So slash root is one of the path in the system, and when we are doing ls, it's showing the content of slash root only, not the other content like slash etc content. It's not showing. Now there we need the path. Now why we need the path is, let's say from slash root directory you want to see the contents, or you want to list all the files and folder of slash etc. How you will do? So you need to specify this path. So slash etc again is another path, it's a part 2. Same like slash bin, slash sbin, these all are path. So if you want to see the content of bin or sbin, you need to be, there are two ways. You need to specify either the absolute path, or you may be inside that particular folder for to see the content. What I mean is, you are in slash root. If you want to see the content of slash bin, then ls, if you write ls without any options, will give you the content of this slash root. And if you want to see the content of this slash bin, you need to give the path here. And let me explain you in this way. So if you see here, what is my pwd? So it's a current working directory slash root. Now if I do ls, it will list all the files. Now ls is doing listing of all the files with respect to this current or present directory, because we did not specify any path. Now if you want to see the content of let's say, if you want to see the content of linux folder, so you need to specify, let's say, linux 2. So there is no content inside linux 2. So what I'm trying to saying is, let me get it easy for you. So the folders or file inside this slash etc, let's say two folders are there, test1 and test2, and user is currently in directory called slash root, and inside this there are multiple folder like linux or like linux 2, and multiple etc folders are there, let's say Shri. So the user is in the slash root directory. For user able to see this three linux 2 and linux 3 or like etc Shri folder by doing ls. So user is able to see all of these folders, or like say there is one another file also in this test.txt. User able to see this file also. Why able to see? Because this folder linux 2 Shri and this file are relative to that user for present working directory or like for current directory. Now relative in sense is user don't need to specify any additional path to see this files or folders. Why? Because slash root is the relative directory or relative path for that user. That means that is relative to that particular user, that is just to that user. And that's why able to see this all folders and files in that current directory or present working directory, because all these folders and files are related to that user. Now that slash etc, so user is currently at slash root, and if you want to see the content of this slash etc, so that user is not in slash etc, and there is some there is this directory is at some different location in OS. So that slash etc is a path. Again, if you want to check the content of the slash etc, we need to go to the path. It's like your school and your like home, and you are user here. So there is one path and this is second path. It's like path 1 and path 2. So if you want to go home, you need to go to this path. Similarly, if you want to see the content of this slash etc folder, you need to go to this path. That means you need to go to the slash etc. Or if you want to see the content of slash root, that means if you want to go to the school, then you go to the path 1 that are you are currently in, that means slash root. So it's like that. If you want to go, if you want to see the content of that particular folder or file, you need to go to that path. So same way, user at slash root, user at this path. So this path is relative to that user. Relative instance, you can assume it like you are at school, and children at school or childs at school, you can see what who are there and who is not there, which friend is there or which one is not there. So why? Because you are at school currently and you can check those things because you are relatively. That means if you want to check the content of this slash root, you can check directly without specifying any part because you are currently at this folder only. But you want to check slash etc content, that means who is at home or who is not at home. And when you are at school, if you want to check who is there at home and who is not there, there are two ways. You need to call someone at home and then you can ask, or you need to go home. So going home is like going to that path, that is slash etc. Then you can check because you are present there and who is there or who is not there. Call is something like specifying the option at maybe ls or like maybe on another command that I want to check the content of this particular folder, because it's absolute path, and absolute path is like you can access from anywhere. More I can discuss with you on absolute and relative path, don't want to confuse with you. In the next video we can discuss more command like cd, more like ls, on more on ls we can discuss. So there we can use relative path and absolute path more. So let me just summarize to you. We discuss what is shell, what is terminal, what are the contents that is prompting to us, what is the use of list command, what is the use of pwd command, it's specifying current working directory, what are the path. More on path we can discuss in next video to make it more comfortable. So let's meet on the next video. Thank you guys for this.